maintaining, sorting, and securing their own bike. It's taken off in bigger cities like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, but not here in Windsor yet. Joining us now in the studio is Lori Newton from Bike Windsor, Essex. Good morning.
Good morning, Amy.
What do you think Windsor, or why do you think Windsor isn't doing bike sharing yet?
I think it's pretty obvious. When the consultants developed the study and recommendations for a bike share in the city of Windsor, they came up with a series of things that the city needed to do in order to ensure its success. And we basically did none of them. So, for example, the three things that we really need to have a successful bike share are topography, which we have naturally, connectivity to public transit, and also infrastructure. So we have not really, in the city of Windsor, moved forward with infrastructure. So where do you take the bikes? The other thing that was recommended is a minimum of 450 bicycles, a mixture of battery assist bicycles and acoustic bicycles, and no scooters. So what did we do? We got, pretty much all scooters. I pulled up the app this morning, and there are a few bicycles here and there, but there's very, very few. The other thing that the city was recommended to do was to go all the way from Prince Road. You want to connect neighborhoods, right? So to go on the waterfront, but to Prince Road and then to Drouillard Road. And in phase 2, hit Devonshire Mall, Tecumseh Mall, and some of the outlying areas. Well, we didn't do that either. So it's no wonder that we have sort of scooter carnage all over the waterfront, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Most of the scooters are downtown, and to take a scooter versus taking a bicycle, you do it for different reasons.
Could bike sharing work here if the infrastructure is put into place?
The studies have shown that, yes, bike share would work here and it would be successful here. But you need to have density of population, that connectivity to the public transportation, and you need to get out there where people need to go. Right now, it's very much centered on the downtown area. I looked this morning to see if I could grab a bicycle from Walkerville, and there were 2 scooters sort of kind of near me, and that was pretty much it. And Walkerville was supposed to be a hub for this too, because a lot of people in Walkerville go to the University of Windsor, they take that waterfront trail, they head out on Lincoln Road, and so it would be perfect. But the bikes are just not there.
Now, Windsor went with bike scooter sharing operator Bird instead of Lime. I'm wondering if that, because they're primarily in the U.S., does that hinder bike sharing growth here at all?
Well, we had delivered a report to the city of Windsor recommending that they go with Lime, and that was because of Lime's record for community building and community development and working with the community. So in places like Hamilton, for example, they go out into neighborhoods. So they'll put on a program just for women to get them comfortable, to get them accustomed to it. They put on programs for new Canadians. We're not, there with Bird. They're not interested. That's not what they do. So those things are not in place. And also, so for example, you need administrative buy-in. So in Hamilton, if there's an off-site meeting, a lot of times city admin will grab bike share to go to imagine, right? But they'll show and they'll lead by example. And then also when administration is using that bike share, they see some of the connectivity challenges, some of the infrastructure challenges, and they can make recommendations and move on those.
Now, the Gordie Howe Bridge will be bike friendly. What can Windsor do to capitalize on that?
Well, that was another reason why we had recommended the use of Lime or partnering with Lime, and that's because Lime is already in Detroit. So there are a number of companies in Detroit that are providing bike and scooter share, but Lime is a big one. And we felt that there could be some connectivity and some synchronicity between Windsor and Detroit through that shared bike service, but that is not going to happen. But we're excited, very excited about the bike hike lane on the bridge. And frankly, we can't wait to get on that bridge and go for our first ride.
Now, you've done work with bike lanes, as you've mentioned, in Detroit, including Jefferson Avenue. What have you learned there that could be put to use here in Windsor?
Well, if I could just use even the Wyandotte Street East situation where we were trying to do a bit of a road diet and put some pilot bike lanes in, that never happened. And I was recently across the river in Detroit, and we got onto the Jefferson Street bike lane, went all the way to Grosse Pointe, out for dinner. It was fabulous. That is a temporary bike lane, and it's been in place now for a couple of years. Is it perfect? No. But does it keep you separated and feeling safe from car traffic? Absolutely. Hamilton has done the same on King Street. Windsor should do the same on Wyandotte East, and Windsor should frankly do the same on University Avenue. I understand that they're going to start our first phase of the complete street on University Avenue. However, that it's a piece, and there's nothing in the budget. Like, we're looking at the capital budget for 10 years out. There's no money for that. So they're going to do 6 or 7 blocks. And then what? Because it's another piece of fragmented infrastructure that, frankly, won't have people using it. So let's start to use pilots in Windsor. Let's pilot. Let's do a temporary pilot in an area, monitor it, measure it, see how it works, adjust as necessary, and then eventually that could become a permanent solution as we look for the budget to do that. Other cities are doing it.
Yeah, you've been fighting for this for years. Do you still have energy? Are you exhausted yet?
It is exhausting. The active transportation master plan was approved several years ago now. We were afraid that it would sit on a shelf, and indeed it's sitting on a shelf. It's very, very difficult in this city. The leadership has no interest in cycling as anything other than more of a recreational activity. And so equity on the street, even traffic calming, is such a long time coming. And it's proven, and there's data to show how we can make our streets safer. The other thing is we're so warm now. We should have our bike share available. Well, we don't have a bike share. We have a scooter share. But if we could get more bikes, that should be available year round. It shuts down in October. Why? We have the topography. We have everything. Since I began all of this advocacy work, it's been about all the promise and all the opportunity that we have here. And now with the new bike hike lane on the bridge, there's exciting opportunities. Sandwich Street is getting the multi-use trail that the bridge is funding. And I think we're going to be a little bit disappointed in the shopping area because it's going to be more white stripes on the road. White stripes on the road is sort of like 1990s infrastructure building. Like, we've gone so far past that. We need to keep cyclists and people on scooters and people on mobility devices and people who are walking safe from car traffic. And instead of focusing on victims self-protecting, we just had 2 deaths. I heard about another, 1 death and a serious incident that happened in Lakeshore just over the weekend. It's not up to the victim to protect themselves. It's up to the municipality to provide safeguards so that car drivers are not running into people who are walking. And we're not a walking-friendly city at all, and we need to get there.
All right. We have to leave it there because of time, but I appreciate it, Lori. Thank you.
Thank you.